I know how much you love solving challenging puzzles. So here is another one for you. So this amazing puzzle was developed by Otto Blathy, who was a Hungarian electrical engineer as well as the author of Chess Problems. So here you can see that black has a massive army against white's lonely king and a knight. But here it is white's turn to move and it's a mate in 12. So can you find all the 12 moves that white should play in order to win this game? Feel free to pause this video and find out the right combination of moves. So in order to find out the best move for white, just look at the pathetic condition of this black king. He doesn't have access to all these 3 squares because they are controlled by our white king. So all black king has is this square. So definitely you don't want to move your king anywhere else because it's doing the right job of creating a direct opposition with the black king. So obviously you should move your knight. But the question is where? Now it's pretty straightforward that if you move your knight to this square, then it will get captured by the queen. You can take this pawn because it's protected by this bishop over here. You can't get your knight to this square because then otherwise it will get captured by this bishop. So the only logical move here is knight f4 check, king moves to c5, and now you can play knight e6 check, forking the black king and the queen. King moves to d5, knight captures queen check, king moves to c5 again, knight captures bishop check, king moves to d5, and now here you cannot capture this rook, otherwise you will lose your knight. So we will go back on the c7 square. So knight c7 check, king c5, knight e6 check, king d5, knight f4 check, king c5, and now here is the key moment because a lot of players will make a mistake of capturing this pawn over here. And why this is a mistake? Because let's say if you do capture on d3, then king will move to d5, and now if you give check on f4, king will move to c5, and now this back and forth check will simply draw the game. And now if you try to get your king to the e4 square so that the black king loses access of this important d5 square, then that would not help because after king e4, black can now play d3 check, and if you take this pawn, then you lose the knight. And if you get your king to any of these 3 squares, then it doesn't change the scenario much because in either of these cases, you lose the knight anyway with a check. And now white's game is completely gone. So let's go back a few moves. So here one should not hurry to capture this pawn. So what should white play then? Well, white should now take control of this important d5 square, which is the escape square of this king, by playing king e4. And now with this move, you are threatening to checkmate black's game either by capturing the d3 pawn with your knight or by playing knight to e6. So what can black do now? Well, black has only 2 options. Either he can move this pawn or he can move this rook to create some space for his king. But if he moves this rook, let's say he gets his rook to the b1 square, then this move would not help black because white can now play knight takes d3 checkmate. Notice how the knight is beautifully controlling both of these squares now. Therefore, the only logical move for black is to play d5 check. So where should the king go now? Well, understand the purpose behind this move d5. The idea is that black is trying to create some room for his black king to escape. So you don't want the black king to escape to this square. So what should you play here? Well, you should take control of this square by playing king e5. King e5 takes control of this square, and now because black wants you to leave the control of this square, he will play bishop f6 check, trying to lure white king to capture this bishop over here, and give some space to the black king. But since you know what black is trying to do, so you should not capture this bishop. What should you play? You should not leave the control of this important d6 square. So therefore, you should play king to e6. Now black will play knight d8 check, again asking you to leave control of this important square. But you shouldn't leave that square for black. So what should you play? You should play king to d7. And now what can black do? The black's king is badly trapped by his own pieces surrounding him on all the sides, and the black king doesn't have access to even this square. So black cannot really do much over here, and he might play d2. And now you can simply finish off the game by playing knight d3 checkmate. And this is a beautiful smothered mate. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and here is the question of the day for you. What is the best move for white here? Let me know your answers in the comments box, and I'll see you in the next video.